How's it going, y'all? Back with another one. I told myself I was gonna take a break from all the fan art that I was doing, but I came across this one cosplay on my Reels feed from this creator. I'll show up on the screen in a second, but it was just from Pomni, the Amazing Digital Circus. I think that's what it's called. I'm not too familiar with it, but when you see a good cosplay and you're just like, yeah, I want to draw that. And I told myself I was going to do it. Like I said, I know nothing about the show or the fandom. I've seen clips pop up here and there. I've definitely heard some of the audios. Like most of it I know from my niece. She seems to like it, so I figured I'll check it out eventually. With this piece in particular, I was weighing on how much I wanted to go into detail with it, because like many artists know, there's so many projects you got going on in the background and OCs I've been neglecting, but it was more so a study for me when it came down to the render, especially. It was like a practice and patience. And I know I've been using 3D models here and there lately, but it was also more so to show that, yeah, I can still draw without using the 3D base, as long as I have a reference and I can just eyeball where things go. But that's just part of the sketching and inking process, and that is, sometimes I'm good with it, other times I'm like a mad rabbit, just going back and forth until it's something appeasing to me. Like, I don't think my inking process is that interesting, depending on what I'm working on, whether it's environments or characters. I'm much more happy to do coloring and rendering. That's my bread and butter. I will say though, I used to have like a strong disdain for inking. Mainly it would take so long for me. But I've grown to, I wouldn't say love it, but appreciate it more. I don't hate it, because without it, my pieces to me, they wouldn't hit as hard as they do when I finish it. And for a piece like this, where I spent more time on the render, the inks were like a guideline on what to do when it came down to it. Because in some of my previous pieces, up until, I don't know, probably millennia, I wasn't so much focused on the face as part of the overall form instead. Like, I saw myself slowly but surely falling into the pitfall of the same face syndrome. It didn't matter whether they were black, white, green, purple, male, female, and everything in between. It was just, I need to put more effort there when it comes to drawing characters. As much as I do in coloring and rendering, I could show out more when it comes to this part of it. And as far as this piece is concerned, I'm happy with all the steps I took and the choices I made in terms of going along with it and challenging myself to not just leave it where it be. Because sometimes I will just, once I get to the face, just give up and leave it flat, probably a basic shadow here and there. I'm like, as long as it looks good overall, I'm happy with it. But I wanted to challenge myself, get back to, because there was a time I was over rendering and making things look uncanny when my intention wasn't to make it look like that. So it's more so trying to strike a balance with my style and where it's going, between my simplified and my rendered, if that makes sense. But yeah, I got more planned in the pipeline. And maybe I'll watch this show eventually, along with everything else that's in my backlog. Between this, my personal projects, and I've got a lot of requests lately to just draw more X-Men characters. I know I did a lot of Marvel Rivals fan art when it first came out. I did Venom, Scarlet Witch, Squirrel Girl, Rogue, but that was before she was even announced. It was just something separate. So it might be time for a redraw of that. And Cyclops just dropped today, and I've been doing a few matches with him. Overall, he's fun, but I'm more of a Gambit main or a Daredevil. I like to swap them out because sometimes you just get those matches where nobody wants to play support or tank, and I'll play a tank, either Rogue or Devil Dinosaur. I used to use Thor, but after a while he kind of fell out of my favor. But yeah, this is basically it. I do some fine tuning off camera because I wasn't satisfied with where I left it, and I didn't know how to properly execute it without just going crazy. So this is one of my longer pieces, quote unquote, because this one, when I looked at the statistics on Procreate, it was about a little over 3.5 hours. I know that seems short to most, but it doesn't take me long to finish most of my pieces unless I include a background or something, but that's neither here nor there. Thank you all for watching. Stay safe, stay tuned for the next one. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, stay rotten. Peace.